And it's done. We did 9 panels. Now let's talk about the pros and cons and why did I install this thing when I had the IR-30 on the roof before? And with those racks, they're at the perfect angle at my latitude and they have a lot of bifacial gain. But I mounted them with concrete anchors into the roof and other cracks formed before that and the whole roof was leaking like crazy. And at first I thought it was the rack, so I used self-leveling lap sealant and I sealed everything off and it was still leaking. So I removed all of the solar panel racking from the roof. I filled in all of the holes in all of the cracks and then we put TPO on top. Now that it's sealed, I am scared to get leaks. So this racking solution called the IR-05, and these do not require penetration into the roof. I use ballast. So I use these concrete bricks that I can buy at any hardware store, and they have a low profile and I can fit 2 rows of panels instead of just 1. The other ones were tilted so far that during winter it would shade the panel behind it because it was such a close and tight space. And as you guys know, I used to put solar panels on bricks on the ground and I would get incredible output. So I don't mind the 5-degree tilt. It's perfect. I can put more panels into that spot. And the roof will stay sealed, so I like it. It's not optimal to some people. I know a lot of people like to have the perfect tilt, but I'm going to have amazing, incredible output for most of the year with this configuration. So let's go over all of the pros and the cons. So first, the installation time is very quick. It's faster than anything else I've seen before besides putting the solar panel on the ground. The hardest part with installation is getting those bricks onto your roof. I have a scissor lift, but if you don't, that's going to be difficult, especially if you have 100 of those things. So please rent a scissor lift if you need it. Next, there's multiple mounting methods. So you can use the bricks like I did with a ballast configuration, or you can use a screw like a concrete anchor, or you can use an adhesive. But I just got done ripping up tons of those other brackets and I used lap sealant. I did not use construction adhesive or the epoxy or anything else that they recommend. I used some cheap glue and it was incredibly hard to remove them. I had to use my entire body weight and it broke the brackets when I lifted them up. So if you do use an adhesive, think of it as a permanent installation method. And now I have a newfound respect for adhesives. I cannot believe how hard that was to get those off. Now what's nice about the ballast method is if you're renting a warehouse and you can't screw in or you can't glue on top, you can just throw some panels on top with some bricks and then remove them when you're done renting the warehouse. And these racks are perfect for large warehouse roofs. They're very large and they're very flat, but most people don't own them. So if you're renting one, this is a perfect use case. Next, it can handle any size panel, whether it's 700 watts, 400 watts, or even 200 watts. It's very easy to use with any panel you have. Next, having a single cinder block is very easy to move compared to other ballast mount options. A lot of them will use a cement curb, which weighs a few hundred pounds, or you're going to use dirt with the large bucket ones, and it's hard to get that dirt on a roof, for example. But with these bricks, you can use a scissor lift and put them on top of any roof that you need. And it's possible for one guy to do the whole installation because every single part of it is very light. Next, the cinder blocks are very easy to find and they're cheap, but you need to know where to get them. Do not go to the garden department and look at all of those stones. Some of them fit perfectly inside, but those are the wrong ones. The concrete blocks that you do want are indoors. They're next to the lumber section. So look around over there and you'll find them and make sure they're the right size and it fits perfectly. Next, they have a low profile. So if you're trying to hide them on a roof, it's hard to see them from the street, which is pretty good. Now let's talk about the cons. So first off, permanent 5-degree tilt. If you're in the tropics, this is fantastic. You're gonna have the perfect angle and you'll be happy. But if you live in America, most latitudes will be a lot happier with a 30-degree tilt. And if you're in a place with snow, these are a no-go. The snow will pile up and you will get zero sunshine, zero output. So most people should go with the IR-30 at most latitudes in America. If you're in the snow, you can get the adjustable ones and crank it up a lot during winter, and then during summer you can drop it back down. Those do cost more though, but a lot of places in the tropics you have these concrete buildings like Mexico, and if you have a large flat roof, these are fantastic for you. Next, the little screw insert, when you're tightening it down, sometimes it will pull out, but it doesn't mess with the functionality. The screw isn't deep enough that I can still lift up the brick just fine. but this is a spot that they could improve. Next, on the website, they said if installing on a roof without surrounding parapet, so for example on the warehouse how they have that small wall that goes around it, the sides and back of the system must be covered to block wind from getting underneath the solar panels. So do I have to cover up mine? Because I don't have that. I really think they should be more clear about this and show this with pictures so we all know. So for mine, I'm gonna use a tiny drop of construction adhesive on the corners, and I think it will be fine. I might add some extra bricks on the back and it should be good. Next, do not over tighten the panel clamps. I did not screw this up on this install, but on the last install, I absolutely did. What happens is when you're using stainless steel hardware and you tighten it down too tight, something called galling occurs and the threads get locked up and you cannot loosen it or tighten it. And the fastest way to fix that is to chop it off with one of these, because I couldn't find any other method. And this hardware is very easy to over tighten, so look at it and you'll get a feel for it. You don't want to tighten it too much. Now let's talk about the total cost of using this racking. So first off, this is $24, but now you need to buy the bricks. And to fill this up with the proper brick, it costs a little under $4 each. And for every solar panel, you need 4 of these. That comes out to about $120 for mounting one panel. But that's if you use a single row. If you want to add a second row, it's a lot cheaper because you only need to buy 2 of these and 2 sets of bricks. So let's do a quick price comparison. So with the bricks, $120. Let's multiply that by 10. It costs $1,200 for 10 panels. If you want a second row, it will only cost $600. So 2 rows is $1,800. Now for the IR-30 for 10 panels, you need 11 frames, and that comes out to $1,320. And for 2 rows, that comes out to $2,640. The adjustable ones are $170 to $190. So let's do the math on that. So if you get their nicest one and you multiply that by 11, it's $1,980 per row. And then if you get 2 rows, $3,960. So this one's pretty good, but the tilt is not great for everyone. And you shouldn't use the cost to determine which one to use. It really depends on your use case and your environment. And that's pretty much it for this video. Super easy to install, but not for everyone. Please let me know what you think down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.